Your Excellency, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the Minister of Youth Development, Nigeria, the Royal Fathers that are here, special guests, the host of this event, I call him PIA, not the Petroleum Industry Act, but Prince Ewefa Aganaba, for the warm welcome and great, wonderful hospitality. And I want to particularly recognize the presence of my brother, someone I also call my boss, who is rightly seated here, and I call him His Excellency Moses Siasia from Bayelsa State. Whenever I see Moses, I recall the day when he and his team invited me to Abuja. They wanted to celebrate me for being the first elected global president of the Commonwealth Youth Council. Not only being the president, not only being at the global stage, meeting with global leaders, sitting in all high-level meetings to represent the 1.2 billion young people I led at that time, and also the opportunities I had at global stage. But yet, I chose to come back to Nigeria and become a classroom teacher. For Moses and his team, they thought that's one of the greatest sacrifices anyone could make. You had the opportunity to stay out there to make money in dollars, to continue with the lifestyle of traveling around the world and seeing amazing development and amazing people. But all my travels around Commonwealth nations and beyond, what they taught me was to love my country even more and to challenge me to see what I can do to make Nigeria even better. And there is no better place to begin the transformation in a country like Nigeria than the academic environment. Because for me, that's most fulfilling than getting money in dollars. And the purpose of life is not by the amount of money you have, but the amount of satisfaction and the impact you make in other people's lives. And that is why in the last 14 years, I have endured and I have sacrificed so much to stick to the academic environment, because that has enabled me to have opportunity to build minds, to build the minds of the young people, the future generation. Because we are not measured in terms of development by the height of our buildings or the beauty of our roads, but the mighty of our minds. And if you cannot build the minds, we cannot build the road. We cannot build the towers, and we cannot build a nation. Any nation that has prospered was built by minds, and the building of mind is done within mostly academic environment. And I'm proud to still be in the academic environment, doing what I love doing. So I want to thank you, Moses, for all the motivation, the support you've been giving. And I want to thank Prince Ewefa. It fills me with joy, confidence, and hope. Anytime I meet this beautiful, handsome young people called Allstars Ensemble, they always dress very well. And I recall when I was the president of the Commonwealth Youth Council, these young people, emerged as the winners of the Commonwealth Peace Music Competition. And that's my first encounter with the group, and particularly a built relationship with PIA. So I want to thank you and congratulate you for all what you have done. I'm asked to speak about development, youth development in the Commonwealth. And we cannot talk about development without talking about what I love the most, education. Because according to 2023 Commonwealth Youth Development Indicators, there were 7.6% increase in the number of school completion across Commonwealth nations. This is a development. Number of people finishing from basic schools is increasing, which means we should anticipate development in Commonwealth nations. Even in Africa, in every 4 African nations, 3 countries have seen improvement in terms of school completion in their countries. But completing school is not enough for development if, despite the increase in school completion in Africa, we still have low quality employment, with more than 60% of young people are either unemployed or underemployed. And this also weakens the opportunity they have around and reduces the quality of their lives and their well-being. And that is why another indicator of development, which is life expectancy, is reducing in Nigeria particularly, because an average Nigerian dies at the age of 52. So you can count it. If you are 40 years now, on average, at least you will live in the next 12 years, you may die. So some people are putting calculators around to see how many more years they have to live. But that's on average. A lot of people live longer. But how long you live determines the quality of your life and is a major indicator of development. And that's very low compared to aged countries like the Britain. And other important measures of development are income. Income are shrinking. The purchasing power of young people's income is reducing by the day as inflation keeps rising. That's also another negative indicator of development, which is a challenge for all of us seated here. Poverty is also on the rise. You cannot talk about development without fighting poverty. Peace and security, very important for development. We know what's happening, especially in northern Nigeria, with the banditry, with kidnapping, and insecurity. And that is why we continue to have increasing inequality. There are more poor people than the rich. The middle class is the most important class in the economy. If you want to build a resilient economy, you must start by building a larger and stronger middle class. And that is the class that young people, at least, they deserve if they work for it. Unfortunately, even if we work for it, we don't fit into the middle class. With the pressure mounting, the middle class is shrinking. And if the pressure comes down from the top, it squeezes the people in the middle class to the bottom class. And if the pressure goes down, people that were already at the lower class, and if the pressure pushes harder, where would they fall to? Grave. And that's why people are dying. Because if the middle class drop to the bottom class, those that were already at the lower class, they will quit, they will leave. And that is the big challenge. How do we see young people back to the middle class and grow the middle class to reduce the pressure? And that's why I come up with some strategies to help Nigeria and Commonwealth nation to build a better population. and to increase the size of the middle class. I know in 1950s, Simon Kuznot once said, inequality is not a problem. It's bound to happen, because when you have inequality, it means that your country is growing up to the time when income and resources will be enough to circulate to reduce the inequality. But this is not true in the current world we live. And especially with the theory of intergenerational mobility that says young people's quality of life is worse than the generation of their parents. Pick up an average. Our parents had lived better life than the current young people's life. So the quality of life is deteriorating by generation. And that we cannot say we are developing. And if the condition of our life is largely determined by the condition of our parents, then we are not developing. Because if our parents are poor, tendency is that we are going to grow up poor. Because education and all basic access that we need for development are subject to money. And if our parents don't have the money, we lack those opportunities and resources. And then so we are likely to grow poor. And the children of the rich are more likely to be rich, and the children of the poor are likely to be poor. That's not a sign of development. Development is when, even if your parents are poor, you stand equal chance to be whoever you want to be in life. And that's why even in the Commonwealth indicators, Singapore is one of the best, came number one in terms of development. Singapore, what they've done was first to build infrastructure, to increase access to education irrespective of your family background. Because with education, there's no limit to what you can become. And that makes success level. They also build infrastructures. They also manage their population. Because when I was the president of the Commonwealth Youth Council, the population of young people were 1.2 billion. But now how many years since I left the position? Almost 8 or 9 years. But the population have increased to 1.8 billion young people. Even in Nigeria, in every 2 decades, we double our population. So the increase, the overpopulation is straining the resources, because resources are not increasing commensurate to the increase in our population. And that has grossly strained the resources, and they become inadequate. And if you look around, in every set of generation in Nigeria, they almost double their preceding generation. If you take young people that are below the age of 10, they almost double the generation that are between the age of 20 to 10. And keep going up the ladder. So we always keep increasing and stretching our resources. And we are not growing the resources, but we are growing the population. And when the population are lacking, they cannot be cannot be assets, they would rather be liabilities. And if you add more population that are liability to the country, you are not likely to develop. And we might say we are safe, but we are all interrelated. What affects one person affects other. What affects one country can affect the whole Commonwealth nations. What affects one country in Africa can affect the entire continent. What affects one region in Nigeria can affect the whole country. We might see what's happening in the north, the kidnapping, the insecurity. We might not feel concerned about it, but it's our concern. It's our business. Because the north can delay the growth and development of Nigeria. There is no way Nigeria can grow without the north. If something happened to the north, it affects the development and the growth of the country, because we are all in it together. But we cannot have development when people are struggling to meet the basic needs of life. They need to be secured. The sense of security, education, healthcare, shelter. Now I want you to gauge yourself and also assess this country in terms of access to or meeting these basic needs. And that is why you see in Nigeria and Africa, the competition is steeper when it comes to level of life. Everyone is competing to be better than the other person because everyone wants to meet their basic life and show off they are better than other people. In Europe, when everyone has met their basic needs, they don't care whether you are better than me in terms of money in your bank account because I can live a happy and quality life. So if you have more money than me, it doesn't matter. And that's why the struggle to meet these basic needs breeds fear and greed. And that's why you see corruption spreading, because people are afraid. They don't want to be poor because they are not protected. They are not guaranteed quality of life, at least the basic level. And hence, the greediness. So young people, we are growing up at a very challenging time when, with little income we have and growing liabilities on our heads, is bringing us down. And I can see the MCs are coming closer. I'm sure they're afraid. They know that I'm a professor. I can talk till tomorrow morning. But I'll go straight to my strategies for youth development. As I mentioned, the first strategy is to manage our population. It's not about the size of the population, but the quality of the population. How do we make our population an asset, not liability? And this is all our work. The quality of education. It's not about the number of people finishing from schools, but the quality of education they get. It also needs changes in the curriculum, because the curriculum we still teach are outdated. We live in a world where no one cares about your grade. And that is why I said we should abolish grade. Grade has no importance. Because even when you want to contest to be president, nobody will ask you for grade. Nobody will say for you to be president of Nigeria, you must have second class upper or first class or second class lower. That's enough to tell you it's not important. If the number one person that made the most important decision for this country is not required to have a grade, then nobody should be asked to have a grade. What is most important is what you can do, is your skill. And if you have to grow as a country and to create opportunities for young people, we have to focus on our comparative advantage, which is agriculture and technical skills, to give young people the opportunity to do things with their hands, to create things. We live in a global village where resources are open and you can access anybody around the world. The market is global. We have to provide quality and affordable power supply, road and transportation networks, cheaper transportation, especially alternative energy. We have to provide the quality education that people need, young people need, access to internet. All these things are the opportunities that young people are asking for, and then they will thrive. And lastly, we talk about the connectivity of the Commonwealth nations. And if you really want to share development and inspire growth, then we have to open our borders. It does not make sense if a member of a Commonwealth nation will have to travel to another Commonwealth nation. They have to apply for visa. They have to pay for visa. If you call ourselves Commonwealth, then the wealth is common. Let's share it. Let's open our borders. Let people travel. Because opportunities are out there. A lot of people think Japan is a bad thing. But I said it's a good thing. Because we have excess labor in Nigeria. We have countries that have deficits of labor. Why can't we transfer people there and thrive and bring remittance to Nigeria? I gave a lecture on this. You can watch it. I'm coming. And that is why I said we all have responsibility as individuals to develop young people through mentorship, through supporting one another. And that's why I want to express my deep gratitude to President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, when I was the president of the Commonwealth nation, he was the president of Nigeria. With the support he gave to us, Moses CSCI took me to the president, and the president has supported us, supported so many programs we have done, and that's a kind of mentorship. Moses, that's what you are doing too, supporting young people. PIA, that's what you are doing, grooming young people, providing opportunities. We ask ourselves, what are we doing to mentor other people? Young people need support. Not only ideas, sometimes monetary support, but they first need the ideas, the mindset, the inspiration, the right motivation. That way we can develop. Remember, development comes from mind. If you can build the minds, we can build the nation. Thank you so much, and God bless you.